The roster for the Phoenix Mercury in 2023 is very unclear. Tied to this is, where will Skylar Diggins-Smith be playing next season? Her issues during the WNBA 2022 season have been well documented. The sideline feud with Diana Taurasi and her unhappiness with head coach Vanessa Nygaard, aka Coach Clown. Diggins-Smith has 1 year left on her max contract, which will pay her $234K a season. Diggins-Smith was unable to play the last few games of the regular season due to reported personal reasons. It's anticipated that she'll return to playing in 2023, but the question is, where will she be playing at? Let's go through the 5 options of where she's likely to be in 2023. Number 5. Phoenix. Now this seems unlikely as there were rumblings at the All-Star break that Diggins-Smith would be traded to the Sparks. What would need to happen for her to return to Phoenix? Number 1 would be that Coach Clown would need to leave. I can't see any scenario where Diggins-Smith plays under Vanessa Nygaard again. It was pretty clear this relationship was doomed after Nygaard went on her diatribe about how you couldn't have an All-Star game without Taurasi. And then at the end of the season, Diggins-Smith begged to get out of the game as she was frustrated, yelling, "Please take me out." The other part of the equation is Taurasi. It seems very unlikely they'd be able to play together again. Even if Taurasi leaves to go chase for a title or decides to retire, it's very difficult to envision the Mercury bringing back Skylar Diggins-Smith, as she was clearly in conflict with the team's all-time greatest player and essentially quit on the team. The Robert Sarver being forced to sell the Phoenix and the Mercury situation could also impact Diggins-Smith, as they'll likely be looking to cut salary, as it's unclear if the future owner of the NBA Phoenix Suns really wants to have the WNBA Mercury. And in that scenario, it would make it more attractive the less salary they have, which makes the option of trading Diggins-Smith for draft picks to rebuild, or even a player on a rookie contract, i.e. something like Kennedy Carter maybe, and starting a rebuild to be a very attractive option. Let's go through some of these trading options. So number 4, Chicago. Like the Mercury, Chicago's in flux as they don't know who's staying or going. If everybody does leave Chicago via free agency and it is a rebuild, then bringing in the hometown girl, Diggins-Smith, well, she's really from South Bend, but hey, that's close enough. Well, maybe you could bring in Diggins-Smith and sell that to the fans of, hey, we're bringing her back. And who knows, maybe you could convince Candace Parker to come back as well, as they share some UConn hate for coaches and players. So they could do that. Granted, this is unlikely, as I don't see Wade wanting to pay any player the max contract. Essentially, he generally likes to get 3 or 4 players if possible in that 200 range, so he has a good strong bench. But it's a scenario that could happen. Number 3, Seattle. The Storm will be looking for a point guard with Sue Bird's retirement, and Diggins-Smith would fit the bill. However, I really don't see this happening, as my crystal ball has Courtney Vandersloot going to the Storm, as she had interest with them during the last free agent period in 2022, but decided to re-sign with Chicago to run it back one last time. If Vandersloot does choose to leave Chicago, then she's a natural fit with the Storm, as she grew up in Kent, Washington and played college ball at Gonzaga. So that leaves number 2, the LA Sparks. Like the Mercury in Chicago, the direction that this team is going in is unclear. They can't really rebuild, as they gave up their number 1 draft pick to Atlanta in the Kennedy Carter trade. Speaking of which, a trade involving Diggins-Smith for Carter makes sense in terms of swapping my problem for your problem. But would LA be gun shy after the Liz Cambage disaster? Liz had her issues with Dallas and the Opals. Diggins-Smith had her issues with Dallas and Phoenix. But will the temptation to go all in again be too great? Will they re-sign Nneka Ogwumike and try to pair her with Diggins-Smith? I could see this happening, but who the LA Sparks name as GM and coach will obviously have a big impact. Is it a coach that believes that they can fix Diggins-Smith and make her a productive player? Or if it's somebody that's going to say, we're going to wash our hands of Diggins-Smith and just restart all over again? To be determined. Number 1, the most likely team Diggins-Smith plays for in 2023, for my money, is Atlanta. Now, I don't know if this will happen, but it makes the most sense. The Dream have young talent, and Diggins-Smith could give them the direction and veteran leadership they need to take that next step in the playoff. If all goes well, great, awesome. But even better, if it does not go well, then no harm, no foul, as she's on a 1-year contract. The Dream have draft assets with 2 first-round draft picks and young players they could use in an offer to trade for her. One of their number 1 draft picks actually has a 27% chance of being the number 1 pick in the draft. So the Dream, if you like, Forgive me. But anyway, the dream would be to get Aaliyah Boston combined with Ryan Howard and add a bit of Diggins Smith to the mix. And oh my goodness, that could be a team. So where do you think Diggins Smith will be playing in 2023? One of the 5 above, or do you think it's a team I didn't mention? Leave your comments below. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.